So today I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of stories that came up in the news this past week that I thought were very interesting and sort of brought out a bit of human behavior that I find puzzling at once and also extremely troubling and rather disgusting. So the first story was, I'm sure most people that are listening to this have heard both of these stories, and this one was very prevalent on the internet. It involved a waitress put a picture of a receipt on Reddit online, and the receipt was a credit card receipt, and it had an 18% gratuity added to it. And the person who was signing the receipt had scratched out the 18% gratuity amount and put there in its place above it, I give God 10%, why should you get 18? Or something like that. And then it showed her signature, and it had the word pastor above the signature. And I believe I'm going to be showing a picture of that right now as I'm talking. And I just, obviously that's going to draw a reaction. Well, the waitress put this up, and she made kind of a joke about it on Reddit. And she said, "My mistake, sir. I'm sure Jesus will pay for my rent and groceries." And I think that's kind of funny, and I think it's kind of entertaining, but it's the whole thing's kind of sad. Now the waitress shouldn't have probably put the person's name on there. I think the original picture had the signed name. Now you couldn't really make out what the first name was, but you could clearly see the last name was Bell, and it was a pastor. So people started putting things together, and finally, this thing blew up and exploded on the internet and got back to the person who had signed it. Well, the waitress, as a result of all this, that posted it, and it was not actually the waitress that it was a friend of the waitress. It was not the actual waitress that waited on the table that posted it, but she actually wound up getting fired because this so-called pastor in St. Louis is where we're talking about. She called the Applebee's restaurant, and according to the waitress, I believe, demanded that everyone be fired, including the managers. I tend to believe that story. I think the woman gives a different version of it, but yeah. So the waitress got fired, and it's made a big stink, and everyone has their opinion about it. But what I find sad is just this example of people using God as sort of their excuse, for being, in this case, a selfish pig. So, and you'll hear here is Chelsea giving her view of it, and you can kind of see how she kind of agrees with me here.
I took a picture of the note because I thought it was comically immature. I thought it was humorously just silly. The fact that someone would not only refuse to tip, not only make themselves out to, kind of be a jerk, but also play the religion card as an excuse.
So, yeah, I mean, she's saying exactly what my view of this whole thing is, and it's just really disgusting when people display this sort of behavior. I find the whole thing really sad that people, you can't just see that you're a selfish pig. You have to not only accept the fact that you're a selfish, greedy pig, but you have to use God as an excuse for your failure in character, instead of just, wait a minute, I'm really being selfish here, why don't I fix that? You're saying, I'm selfish and it works for me, so God is my excuse. it's really sad. And here's what she wound up with this so-called apology, you know. But here's what she said. My heart is really broken, she said. I brought embarrassment to my church and ministry. Forget the fact that you got somebody fired. You called up the place and demanded that people be fired, and you got somebody fired. Now someone doesn't have a job because of your little embarrassing episode, because you made an ass out of yourself. And yeah, the waitress probably should not have posted the person's name. It's understandable in that sense that, she was probably wrong for doing that. But still, I mean, just accept the fact that you're a selfish pig and do something to work on it. The other story that's been in the news this past week was the whole thing with the Boy Scouts of America. And so, it's just another one of these, homosexuals are, taking over and there's mass chaos, dogs and cats living together, all that stuff. So, of course, the media has to do something about it, has to say something, and cover it. So I'm listening to NPR in my car, and there's a woman that comes on, and NPR, I like what they do generally. I think they do a good job, but they're not exactly hard-nosed type of journalism, even though they do have pretty decent comprehensive reports. They don't just go at people too much. So there's this woman who they're interviewing about this subject, and I don't know all the details about this, but this I do know. This woman claimed that she said the reason why she was against whatever they're doing, I think they're trying to make, I guess I should be more researched to be talking about this, but the important thing is what I'm criticizing. But they're trying to make Boy Scout leaders, I think, allow them to be homosexuals in certain parts of the country, or maybe the whole organization. I don't know, but anyway, that's the issue. So she says, this woman they're interviewing says that they're against it, that she's against it because of her, she's a Baptist and it goes against her religious beliefs. So, you see, my follow-up question to that would have been, well, yeah, but what's the reason? Because that isn't a reason. I mean, it's against my religious beliefs. What does that mean? Because it says, I don't even know what she's talking about. I mean, I know the Bible says in there that homosexuality is a sin or is an abomination, along with eating shellfish and stuff like that. But to me, I mean, this is just another example of people using their religion to just back up their really bad ideas and poor character. The real reason is that it probably is closer to something like, I'm against homosexuals because they're a bunch of pedophiles and they're going to ruin our children, or some shit like that, That's probably the actual reason in her mind. But instead of saying that, which is an obviously bigoted viewpoint, she's just saying, well, it's against my religious beliefs. At best, it's against her religious beliefs to be homosexual. It's not against her religious beliefs, as far as I can tell. And I'm no scholar, but as far as I can tell, there's nothing in there that says you should just be against all homosexuals in any part of life. You should be against homosexuals being introduced into any sector of our lives. It doesn't even say that. Furthermore, I mean, it just shows you they pick and choose what they want to out of the Bible. And this is just another example of picking and choosing something that backs up my already bigoted viewpoint. I mean, you don't see them. I'm pretty sure if somebody stoned some poor woman to death because it was found out that she wasn't a virgin on her wedding night, she would probably be against that. I would imagine. I would hope. Probably. She probably doesn't even know that crap is in the Bible. But I mean, I could bring up countless examples like that. And, you know, I guess Paul said some stuff about homosexuals, and, you know, he also said a lot of crap about women too. So I'm pretty sure that she doesn't want to be shut up in the church. I would imagine. So just another example of this. Stop using religion to back up your already poor character. You're a selfish pig. You're a bigot. You know, just look at yourself. And stop using your religion to perpetuate this stuff. This is where religion gets a bad rap and gets a bad name. It gets a bad name for a lot of reasons, I guess, but this really, really turns people off to it, and I wish that people could see that. I wish these people could see that. There's just no way you can make them see it, though, I don't think. I mean, people, if someone is watching this video, listening to me talk, they have these viewpoints, they're probably going to come up with all kinds of excuses as to why I'm wrong. You know, I would actually love to hear from some of you on that, so I can better understand what's going on in your mind. So anyway, that's it. Just some disappointing news this week that I thought I would get off my chest and talk about. Anyway, thanks for listening.